What's up, everybody? I'm very excited to be doing this. So, teased it in my last video. We're doing Attack Edition frame. And I got some vinyl wrap. This stuff I ordered. This stuff my boy Broccoli FPV hooked me up. We are going to wrap the entire quad. We're gonna use a couple different color 3D prints, and we're gonna do it up to be like a red tail P51 Mustang. Yeah, insert picture here. Yeah, we're kind of going off that design right there. So what I did, I ordered my vinyl wrap. I have some red TPU that already came in. I ordered some army green that's on its way. By the time you see this, it'll be in and on. Got my Attack Edition Skull V3, and I'm gonna go step by step on how to wrap your carbon parts up. We're gonna do it the hard way. I just realized that you can probably actually do it with a vacuum former, which I may or may not be in the process of making right now. But anywho, we're gonna do it the way so you can do it at home. So what you need is your vinyl, you need your frame, I need some rubbing alcohol, a heat gun, and X-Acto knife, maybe a pair of scissors. I did some practice on this little spare arm that I had, and I started to do this Skull V2 roll cage, and it's just kind of half done because the frame got here, so I don't need to fool with it anymore. Let's get to the real thing. All right, folks, one more delicious sip, and let's get to the bench. Alrighty. We went ahead and wiped all the carbon down with a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to clean any grease or anything off of it. So we're going to start with the base first. So what we're going to do with the base is we're going to do the top and bottom in two separate pieces and wrap both sides around the edge. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our wrap here. So I already pre-cut these down. You want to leave plenty of room. So when I wrap this, I'm not going to do the around the feet because I'm putting 3D printed footies on it already. So there's no use in doing all that. So I'm going to still wrap the whole thing, but I'm going to slice it about right there. So we got that. We're going to go ahead and peel the back off. Watch it roll up like that, because that is convenient. Alright, let's see if we can do something here just to get it to hold down. I'll tell you what, this vinyl sure does smell good. Gotta love that vinyl off-gassing. Alright, I'll lay that down like that. That'll give us good enough. So I have it flat on the table. I put the shop towel down just to give a little bit of a softness buffer. And we're just going to go and lay the flat part down and give it a good press. Then we're going to flip it over. And it might be a little difficult for you to see on camera, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get all the flat spots down first. You can use a credit card. This is like a plastic with some felt on it. Keep it smooth. And then we're going to go ahead and give it the first little bit of heat. And you're going to, before I start this up, you're going to see it start to shrink and take form around it. And this is the longest part of it. Is you can pull it and put it back down if you want, but just take your time forming it. See how it's doing that? So then you can actually just come back and start pressing down the edges. Work a little bit at a time. I'm going to try laying it down. hit the spot and press. And what it actually does as it heats up, it helps form the bond between the vinyl and the paper towel, or the frame itself. So what we're going to do now is, as it's starting to wrap, we're going to start to cut relief cuts to help it shrink down around our edges. So obviously we're going to come in towards the center here and leave about, I'd say, a ½ inch to an inch away from the frame, just to give you enough to grab and stretch. All right, now that we got those reliefs, I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to pull this up a little bit. And we are going to turn the heat gun on its end and start working. Just like that. So, let me pull it back down here. So you can see we're starting to get a wrap around the edge. Now you see we still have a tense spot right here, so I'll keep cutting in. And this is, just take your time with it and slowly work it into place. You can always pull it back up and work it back in. And having the extra, that's definitely not a bad thing, because we can trim it off later. And what we'll do is we'll take the side of our hobby knife, or X-Acto knife, and run it along and cut and clean that edge up and get everything nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this side tight down, and then we'll come back. Alright, so just as you start working it in, you trim a little bit off, make more room for yourself, and now I'm at the point that I'm right here. The edges still aren't perfect yet, but I'm going to go ahead and trim and clean it up a little more. The positive of doing both sides here is, even if the edges aren't perfect on this side, it's going to have another layer coming over it when we do the other side, so it'll be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hobby knife, we're going to lay it flat on the carbon, and we're just going to pull it across. Now I went ahead and changed my blade out before starting this. It's always good to keep a nice clean fresh blade on there. Go ahead and trim this. And this doesn't have to be perfect. We're slowly whittling it down. So this takes time and a little bit of patience. And if you have that, or you can muster it, you can come out with a nice result at the end. Sharp knife is a happy knife. And if you really wanted to, you could forego having the overlay on one side, and just so you only have one. thickness of vinyl going around it, but I'm going to do both. Oh, yeah, I gotta love that. And we're across on that, almost there. And then we're gonna go back, keep heating up the edges, but we're gonna use my little felt card, start really pressing down, because this stuff stiffens up as it cools. So when it's all hot, it's pliable, and then it'll stick more. So you can see that's where we're at. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay the edges down, and then we'll come back and we'll cut these pieces out. All right, so we got it trimmed out, and it's like the edges and stuff, they're not perfect, and that's fine, because you gotta understand, when I paint my quads, do the designs and stuff, I do this knowing damn well that it's gonna potentially be destroyed. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and flip it over, and you can kind of see where the indentations are that we need to cut, but I'm going to go ahead and put some heat on it and kind of push down on those to make it a little more pronounced. So that gives us a nice place to see. And then we're just gonna go through, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had my music on. Little Albert King never hurt anybody. All right, and we're just gonna follow, just like we did with the top, we're gonna follow the edge of the carbon, and just do it lightly. Obviously you don't want to dig into the carbon. And this is helpful, so let me pull closer here. You can see it. So I started in this corner, start pulling around, and it starts to bunch up. So then I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna leave a little bit of space to keep that tension. I'm gonna go this way, and then we can knock that little notch out once we get closer to the end. And there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these cut out, do the other side, and we'll come back to work on the roll cages. Real quick, I got everything cut out, and last thing you want to do before we flip it over to the other side, throw some heat back on here, and then any little edge, go ahead and get everything good and push down, try to get a good seal on it. So we're gonna you can go in with a pencil or something like that to get in there. Tell you what, I'm gonna back end up a paintbrush. In this case, a flux brush. I'm just gonna go in, kind of mash everything down. Just make it a little cleaner in the end. Alright, cool. Alright, so we got the base done. The edges aren't exactly great, but that's going to be okay because as we do things and we add other wrap and decals, we can keep working and tighten it up. So now that we have the chrome wrap on the base, and I will go ahead and say, compared to the other vinyl wrap I've worked with, the chrome wrap is not nearly as flexible. I guess that's to be expected. So take that knowledge if you're going to wrap something in a metallic finish. It doesn't flex as much. All right, onto the roll cage. So with the roll cage, I'm just gonna do the outside of the roll cage. I'm not gonna double wrap it because there's no point in wrapping the inside. Might as well save yourself the trouble. So we're gonna go ahead and flatten this down. And one thing that I realized on the last, when I did the other side of the base plate, is it helps to go through. If you already know where you're gonna do some stress cuts, there, there will be another one. It really helps out when trying to wrap it. So go ahead and I'll leave that for now. Go right in this corner, go out, get that out. So this way when we go to throw the heat on it, it's more likely to want to fall in line. Just taking this little bit of extra time really helps out when you go to lay it down. And a lot of these edges, like the front, we're putting bumpers on, so you're not even going to see that leading edge. Alrighty. And the tail here we're going to wrap with another color. I know I didn't really explain exactly what I'm going with. I talked about it earlier with the picture we popped up, but we're going to go some red on the back. I'm not going to bother with any red on the front because I'm going to do red bumpers and my camera's red, and then the GoPro mount is going to be army green to match the behind the top of the nose of the P51. So let's go ahead and apply some heat to this and start wrapping it around. And now we'll go back through and clean everything up, but you can see how those relief cuts helped form everything around a lot easier. Alright, now that we got the roll cage done here, it was much easier to pre-cut those stress reliefs. You're going to want, where the battery plate sits in here, you want to remove all the material from in there. And then, so yeah, This one came out pretty good. You see the other side, we left it empty. I'm gonna go through and do the other one, and we'll come back for the battery plate. All right, we're on to the battery plate. And what we're gonna do, we're just gonna do the one side, and we're not gonna wrap it around on the sides. We're gonna wrap around the back and the front, and then we'll cut the holes out. Don't be afraid to change your hobby knife blade. If you feel like you're sawing at it, it's time to change it. You can get bulk packs of blades off Amazon really cheap. Just go ahead and swap it out. You'll be grateful at the end. All right, let me do this, and then we're on to some red. All right, so fun development. When getting this on, I realized after a while, some of the heat on it, I saw some stuff peeling, and I realize now, I don't know if you can tell the difference, there's a plastic protective clear film on it, so you pull it off and it's even shinier. So the next thing we're going to do is put the red on the back. And let's see here. Going back to the picture of the... Alright, so you see that's kind of the look that we're going to mimic there. So we want to sweep back at an angle. Alright, cool. Alright, so when laying this red, this is our straight edge we're going to follow. We're going to go from the edge of where the battery plate locks in to where it mounts. So we're going to go just like this. And lay that down, and that'll give us a nice little swept red accent. Alright, and the same process follows. We're going to stretch it around and clean it up.
Back up. Yeah, no, I haven't thought about the GoPro portion, but I have thought about the quad portion. So,
alright. So, when I left off, I was like, oh yeah, we need to do this angle, and I realized, once I ended for the night, that I went the wrong freaking angle direction. So I gotta take all this red off, take the red off here, and redo it. It would probably be fine like this, but it's gonna bother me, so oh well, such is life. On to doing that.
I had Ron, the FPV geek, put me up a bunch of parts from your tank racer.
Hey guys, say hi to YouTube.
I can't see anything, but you've got a background.
I have the camera on the monitor.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Alright, so there we go. We went ahead and reversed that around. Came out pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the base plate back out, and then Brock FPV sent me some yellow, and I cut it into 1/4 inch wide strips, and we're going to wrap it around each arm. I think I'm going to follow the edge corner there and come across that way, and we'll wrap it around each arm. I made it a little long so you can wrap it, and that's actually going to help pull my overlapping layers across. So I'll go ahead and do one on camera here, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to line it up just like that. You want to do your best to pull it nice and tight. Line it up. I'm going to overlap it. Then when we put the heat on it, it'll shrink it up too. So just keep it nice and tight. One over another. Pull that edge up. And everyone we'll trim it up then too. So let's go ahead and pull out our heat gun. Work the air bubbles out of that. Alright, where's my little card? I'll just work that down. All right, just gotta do 4 more corners and we'll be back. All right, so let's start putting on some of these decals. I didn't realize when I first started you'll see a couple missing because I did this side to try it out and get a figure of it. So I didn't realize beforehand that these are water slide decals for models. This is I found the 1/72 scale works really well for the area that we have on these drones. So these water slides, what you do is you cut out the piece you're using, you soak it in the water dish. I'd say put it in there about 10 seconds and then start, basically the decal is going to release from the paper and start sliding around. These things are super delicate. I trust you'll be fine with it, just go slow and be careful. So let's go ahead and try it out here. I'm just going to wipe off the area that we're going to do. And these little guys here, that's what we're using on the side. And I'll do 2 of these on the bottom of the arms, and other 2 I'm going to do on ESC covers. Just since I'm using individual ESCs on this build. And it doesn't have to be super tight because the decals are already pre-cut. I'll go ahead and drop that in the water. Let that sit for a second. And I'm not working with a zoom lens or anything here. It's at fixed, so I'll do my best to get a close shot. So we've had it in there. Let me go ahead and then we're gonna start trying to gently move it. And when it's ready, it will release. Alright, I'm going to put it back in the water. You want to keep it wet. You don't want it to dry out at all. That's why you see me keep dipping it. Alright, you see we just released here. Now we're free of that. I'm going to bring it straight over to where I want to put it. Lay it down. Now, because it has the water on it, you're able to slide it around and move it where you want. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. So now, the difficult part is you let it sit. I'm going to go ahead and keep adding the decals on here. But you're going to want to let it sit for a few hours and just don't touch it. I don't believe this is going to be an overly durable sticker, but I mean, y'all know how it is with these drones. You get it built, take some pictures, and then it's beauty marks from there. So, I'm going to go ahead and let this sit and get the rest of the decals on. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Had a lot of fun with it, trying the vinyl wrap, doing something a little different, working with the model decals. Had a whole lot of fun. Now this weekend I got to get out and go give her a rip. If you want to try a project like this on your own, if you are interested in a Flynoceros frame, there's a link down in the description for you to go check out the frames. It's a sweet website. Consider giving a subscription, a like. Definitely leave me a comment. I love hearing the feedback. And until the next project, we'll see what happens next. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Go make something great.